recycling program is brought to you by
Planet Earth. Let's take care of it because it's the only one we've got.
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
The earth is beautiful, and we've got to keep it that way. We learn about the world and how to keep it nice. Dig it, 'cause we care. Dig it for clean air. Dig it, we need you there, 'cause it's the world we share. Dig it for education. Dig it for beautification. Dig it, we need you there, 'cause it's the world we share.
Welcome to Dig It!
It's going to be a great show, so stick around while we talk about
Resources and conservation.
Dig It. Resource conservation, recycling energy and water.
Resource conservation, or RC, means to conserve resources in a conservative fashion, or
Resource conservation is pretty simple. Basically, it's about eliminating waste and using only what you need.
In other words, resource conservation means using less.
Oh, sorry.
Resource conservation is a really big topic, so in order to keep it simple,
resourcefully conserving resources.
we're going to focus on 3 main resource conservation areas.
Recycling, energy, water.
Area 1, recycling. It's how we get the most out of the materials we use every day, like bottles,
Cans.
paper, and much, much more. We can reuse this stuff.
Area 2, energy, is what we use for cooking, heating, using computers, and getting from place to place.
That's top secret.
And finally, we'll be talking about our delicious resource, water. We all know what water is. We all need water in order to survive.
In fact, the human body itself is made up of 70% water.
So I guess that when they say, he's a tall drink of water, they're not kidding.
So anyways, let's move on to Area 1, recycling.
Recycling.
She's fast. She's brave. And she kinda smells. She's Garbage Girl. Yes, Garbage Girl leaps from dumpster to dumpster, pulling out recyclables and rescuing them from the landfill.
This should be in the recycling bin. It's a #1 bottle. Peace out. This is valuable. It's aluminum. It should never be in the garbage.
These are recyclable. This is a milk carton, a plastic box #2, an aluminum tray, a juice box, and a pop can. We help people recycle and show them to put their aluminum and milk cartons and stuff in there. Aluminum, if they try to dump all the food out and it's clean, we can recycle them. They dump out their milk cartons if they haven't finished the milk, pour it out and crush it and put it in the recycle bin. That was the only piece of foil, please. I know it's too bad. a mineral called bauxite. If we keep on mining bauxite, there won't be enough left. But if we recycle it, they won't have to mine it each time to get a new little carton.
It's aluminum. It's valuable. It should be recycled.
In order to cut down on the amount of waste you create, you have to cut down on the amount of resources you use. The key to resource conservation is
Use less!
Using less means remembering the 3 R's.
Reduce, reuse, and recycle.
It's the Jenny Sprinkler Show with your host, Jenny Sprinkler.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's show. Our topic, resource conservation. And our guest is Reduce, one of the 3 R's. Welcome, Reduce.
It's good to be here.
Reduce. Now, what exactly does that mean?
Oh, well, in this context, reduce refers to reducing your consumption of resources, which basically means thinking before you use something and not using it if you don't really need to.
You lost me.
Well, I'll give you an example. Let's say you have a nice hat.
Which I do. I wear it on special occasions.
Okay, and now let's say that one day when you're out shopping, you see a similar type of hat that you really like in a store window, and you think to yourself, wow, I would really like to own that hat.
Ah, sounds like you've been talking to my husband.
But the fact is, you don't need the second hat because you have a perfectly good hat at home.
So what are you saying?
Well, instead of buying the second hat, you decide to be satisfied with the hat you already have.
But what if I don't like the hat I have?
Look, you're reducing your resource consumption by not buying the second hat because you don't need the second hat.
This is wacky stuff, people. We'll be right back. Now, does this hat stuff pertain to earrings? Because I just couldn't live with one pair of earrings.
Conservatively resourcifying resources.
Hey, why don't you come on down to the Buy Less Warehouse for savings that you won't believe? That's right. You've got the opportunity to reduce, reuse, and recycle like never before. Take a look at these brand new snowboards. The one you got for your last birthday will easily last another couple of years, so you cannot buy this one for just $429.95. Yes, you save $429.95. And how about these spiffy cargo pants, huh? You've already got 18 pairs. You don't need any more. So you can leave them on the shelf and save $36.99. And take a look at this beautiful set of gel pants. Regularly $5.97. We've got them on sale for just $2.49. You save $3.48. But wait, there's more. For an additional saving of $2.49, don't buy them at all. The Buy Less Warehouse, where you can get nothing of everything.
My next poem is entitled Use Less. Use less. Thank you.
wow, that was really deep. So that's reducing, using and buying only what you need. Now let's talk about the other R's, reusing and recycling.
Reusing and recycling are about being creative. Instead of throwing an item away, try to think of a way to either use the item again or turn it into something completely different.
Another reason to reduce, reuse, and recycle is that it takes a lot of resources to make the simplest things. Take this chair, for example. It started out as a tree in the forest. The tree was cut down and driven to a lumber mill, where it got cut into smaller pieces. The boards were then covered with special chemicals that made it easier to bend them into different shapes. The shapes were then taken to a factory, where they were stained, varnished, and nailed together. Next, fabric was added to the seat and back, and the finished chair was shipped to a store where someone bought it and took it home. As you can see, it takes quite a few resources to make even a simple chair. Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Wow, Ian, it's good to see you back in your three-dimensional self.
Okay, so now we've talked about recycling and waste. Now let's move on to energy.
Lulu energy.
We're all familiar with electricity. After all, we use it every day. But what you might not know is that the process of making electricity is expensive and can have a negative impact on the environment.
For example, burning fossil fuels like coal and oil in order to make electricity creates air pollution. And building dams on rivers to create electricity through hydropower can block salmon from swimming upstream to spawn.
Oh no, let me in, let me in!
Then there's natural gas, which burns cleaner than coal or oil. However, it still does generate some air pollution.
Plus, the Earth has a limited supply of these natural resources. Once the coal, oil, and gas are gone, they're gone for good.
Now don't get us wrong. Using energy, whether it's electricity or natural gas, helps us to live our lives. But we've got to be responsible and use only what we need.
It's Attack of the Gigantic Energy Bill.
What happened, ma'am?
Well, I'd just been out shopping, and oh, I found this cute little dress and these adorable little brown boots with zippers that go all the way up, and then I got a bite to eat. It was a panini with
Right,
a little bit of...
ma'am, what happened when you got home?
Oh, right. Well, I went through the bills as usual, and when I saw the total on this energy bill, I just began to scream, and... Oh, officers, who can be responsible for this horrible thing?
We hate to say it, ma'am, but you are.
Me? But how could I possibly be responsible for this?
Well, we see you're wasting a lot of energy.
And wasted energy leads to big energy bills. I'm going to take a look around.
For example, you've been gone all day, and yet you've left the lights on in every room.
But that's because Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy, my hamster, is afraid of the dark.
Uh-huh. You also left your computer and your printer on.
Well, that can't make that much of a difference.
Every bit counts, ma'am.
It's also rather warm in here.
Thermostat says 80 degrees.
But I don't want to be cold.
Do you want to keep getting energy bills like this?
So what you're saying is that in order to conserve resources, I have to live in a cold, dark, uncomfortable cave?
No, but you do need to be responsible. And that means using only what you need.
How do I do that?
Well, for starters, turn your heat down to 68 degrees. And if you're cold, put a sweater on.
And instead of keeping the lights on when you leave the house, turn them off.
But Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy...
Mr. Fuzzy Wuzzy will adjust.
And turn your computer off when you're not using it. I mean, leaving your computer on all the time, that's like leaving your car on all night when you know you're going to drive it in the morning. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay, I'll work at becoming a better resource conservationist.
That's good to hear, ma'am.
So, you guys want to see my new boots?
Sure.
I got them at the thrift store.
Those are adorable.
Wow, those are some pretty funky boots. Did you see all the lights she had on in her house? Here's how you can conserve energy in your home. First, open the refrigerator door as seldom as possible. Turn off the lights whenever you leave a room, even if it's only for a few seconds. And keep the house temperature at the lowest comfortable setting.
Hey! Hey,
I'm a sophomore here, and I was one of the original members of the recycling crew, and I've been recycling every week since it began here. A lot of people call us the garbage crew, but we're not. We're just trying to help save trees and stuff.
Custodians support recycling too.
Okay.
Laura, guess how many pounds of paper you throw away each year?
Oh, I don't know, maybe 100 or so?
Not even close. 580 pounds a year.
Hey! Hey you! There's something you can do! Conserve resources, it's all up to you! Hey! Hey you! There's something you can do!
So instead of throwing things away and just getting rid of stuff that could otherwise be reused, we're helping save the forest and just our natural resources. People can make fun of me, but I don't care. Every time I roll one of those big blue cans down the hall and recycle that stuff, I feel good because I know that I'm doing my part to save the planet. Because I'm old enough to actually be able to do something and young enough to want to.
It's all up to you!
We can all do things to save resources. Now let's talk about water.
We use water for everything from washing to drinking to cooking to manufacturing.
The water we use today is the same water we've been using since the beginning of time.
We don't get new water, it just gets dirtier and dirtier.
That's why it's important to conserve the water we have and use only what you need.
Use less.
It's time once again to play Beat the Water Meter. And now, here's your host, Frankie Fawcett.
Hey, everybody! Welcome to Beat the Water Meter. I'm your host, Frankie Fawcett. Let's meet today's contestants. Carol Rankin is a 12-year-old girl, and Jimmy Peters is a 12-year-old boy. Good to have both of you with us. Okay, now you know how the game works. Using these ergonomically designed toothbrushes and a beginning amount of 3 gallons of water, you will brush your teeth using the least amount of water possible. The least amount of water possible. Okay, are you ready, Carol and Jimmy?
Ready.
All right, Carol and Jimmy, it's time to beat the water meter! Ooh, look at that. Carol has turned off the water while brushing her teeth. That technique just might be the winning trick. And Jimmy, uh-oh, Jimmy, look at that water just flowing down the drain. Okay, Carol has just turned her water back on. Now, look at that. She is only using a small amount of water. All right, that sound means brushes down, Carol and Jimmy. And it looks like Carol has used less water than Jimmy. But before declaring Carol the winner, let's check with Dr. Densher. Doctor, check those teeth. What's the diagnosis? We have a winner! All right. Sam Spigot, what has Carol won?
Well, Frankie Fawcett, Carol is the winner of a brand new car. No, it's just a soft brush toothbrush.
All right, congratulations, Carol. Well done. This has been another exciting episode of Beat the Water Meter. I'm Frankie Fawcett. Good night. Way to go, Jimmy. Good effort. Carol, once again, congratulations. She loves that toothbrush.
Here's how you can conserve on water. Only wash full loads in the dishwasher and washing machine. Fix all leaks in the toilets, sinks, and showers. Oh, don't leave the water on when you're brushing your teeth. And take shorter showers.
The majority of water used gets flushed down the toilet. If everyone in Seattle flushed 1 less time per day, we could save more than 3 million gallons of water.
Training film number 73, Using Less. When Julie writes a report, she uses both sides of the paper. But Johnny seems to like wasting as much paper as he can. If Julie feels cold in class, she puts on a sweater. If Johnny feels cold, he sneakily turns up the heat. Before lunch, Julie washes her hands using the least amount of water possible. Johnny thinks it's funny to plug up the sink and let the water sandwich. Looks like you'll be raking the leaves again this weekend, Johnny.
It's a worm!
It's a cat!
It's a rat.
No, it's Garbage Girl.
Hi, I'm Garbage Girl. Did you know that 60 train cars leave Seattle full of garbage daily? That's 300 containers of garbage going from Seattle to a landfill in Oregon. That's 480,000 tons of garbage each year.
Wow! That's a lot!
Tell me about it, Worm. Most people don't realize how much stuff they throw away each day. But what if you had to carry it around with you? Now that you've learned about resource conservation, you're ready to take the Resource Conservation Pledge. So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will not waste natural resources. I will turn off all lights, TVs, VCRs, DVDs, video games, and anything else that is not being used. I will close all window blinds and drapes at the end of the day. I will not turn the thermostat above 68 degrees in the winter. I will recycle. I will use water wisely. I will not litter or pollute. I will demonstrate respect for my environment and for me.
Are there any questions?
If you do have questions about resource conservation, or if you just want more information, visit our website at digit.seattleschools.org.
Thanks for watching. We'll leave you now with the funky sounds of DJ Use Less.
Yeah. Resource conservation is the best way to live, cause it's not about taking more but trying to give. So just use what you need and leave all the rest. Then everybody all around won't get dizzy and stressed. So turn down the heat, don't let the water run, and turn off the lights. It's what needs to be done. So if you recycle and reuse and reduce everywhere, soon you won't be worried that you ain't getting your fair share. Say use less. Use less. Say use less. Use less. Say recycle. Say energy. Say water. DJ Useless in the house. All right, let's give it up for DJ Useless.
No, it's DJ Useless.
Oh, that's what I said.
No, you said DJ Useless.
Right.
That's okay.
We're going to focus on three main natural resource conservation.
In order to cut down on the amount of waste.
It's a cat!
It's a rat.
No, it's Garbage Girl.
So raise your right hand and repeat after me. I will use,
They are adorable.
Okay, we've talked about recycling and waste. Now let's move on to energy.
I didn't do it at all.